Hey guys, welcome back to Mosaic Souls. This is Rachel Alexander of the Rachael Alexander Show. I'm just kidding. But anyways, welcome back. Happy New Year. So this video is all about relationships and sort of what I've learned over time in relationships, lessons that I've learned in dealing with heartbreak and attachment, and also just the power of partnerships and all the like. So I'm not going to truly do a story time because I'm not really that type of person to be putting all my business out there like that. But I have definitely learned a lot just within the past like 2 to 3 months about relationships and my part in the whole unfolding of certain specific relationships in my life and taking responsibility for playing my part in it and stuff like that. And one of the things as I was sort of like working through it with my therapist and also watching other videos of other therapists talk about relationships is there can be, an urgency and stuff like that that happens when you are a woman and you're like in your 30s or you're getting up there in your 40s or you're maybe even close to your 50s and you're like in a rush and maybe let's say you've never been married or you don't have kids or this whole thing, right? There's this sort of ticking time clock that kind of internally sort of can drive a woman to like be on a rush to find the one, because if they don't find the one then they won't be able to have kids or they won't be able to get married or all these kind of things that are like unspoken but they're are like at the core of what drives a woman's actions. And I can definitely say I fell into that trap. But I also would say, because I'm not necessarily a person who needs to have kids in my lifetime, like if I have kids in my lifetime, that's great. I'm not attached to it, right? But I would definitely say for the first time in a while, since probably like my early to mid 20s, have I ever felt a desire or an urgency, not even an urgency, but more so a desire to have children. But I kind of chalk that up to sort of like my baby making hormones. But also just the love for a particular person in my life that happened, and it was the first time I actually felt safe and had the idea to feel like I actually wanted to have kids with someone. But all that is to say is I think that definitely influenced, but I also kind of think on a spiritual level that there was sort of like a connection in a past life that created this sort of urgency or this sort of like desire for something more very quickly. And one of the things that I've noticed, call it what you want, karmic relationships, soulmate relationships, all that good stuff. I don't really think the label matters. It's more so about like what is a life experience that you're living out. But I think a part of that, like when you meet like past life people in this lifetime, it can be sort of like an instant connection or an instant sense of like feeling at home with someone, or an instant feeling of like, this person already. And I think that is sort of what happened for me. So let's just say the overall gist of it is that I met a guy, fell in love, it was going great, then that relationship dissolved. So put it that way. And so because of that, like I experienced deep heartbreak, and I'm still really kind of working through it, to be honest. But through that heartbreak, it kind of taught me where I went wrong in the relationship, and sort of self-reflecting on myself of sort of this desperation energy that I had. And I was reflecting on like the first relationship that I had where I was with my partner for almost 10 years or whatever. And I was like, did I go through that with that person as well? And in hindsight, when I'm reflecting, I think I did go through that as well. It was sort of like this sort of, I wouldn't say a codependent, but it definitely felt like an addiction. That's the whole idea of like falling in love and stuff like that. It felt like a drug almost, like you're so in love with love, you know what I mean? And so in love with this person who represents the love that you want to experience or whatever, the levels of intimacy that you want to experience. And it can feel as though it's like this, I don't know if it's an Aries thing or something, because I know my mom says she experiences the same thing, but like whatever, it doesn't really even matter. But I do feel the sense where I like fall in love really quickly, the fall in love, that attachment starts to form. And I would definitely say this is the first time in a really long time, I don't even remember feeling this way in the beginning of the relationship that I had with my ex, of this like energetic like cord from my heart chakra all the time, and it felt like this pulsating energy in the center of my chest a lot. And it was just really weird because I'm like super spiritually awakened and like awakening, and to experience this level of like attachment and energetic like energy and cord that I couldn't like necessarily like cut off or like turn off, or you know what I mean, it was just really weird. Like I never really experienced that. I think this is like the first time that I've experienced this level of intensity in terms of like a physical sensation in my body, where it literally feels like I can't even control it. Like I wasn't in control of my emotions. I wasn't, you know, like as in control of my mind as I wanted to be in this relationship with this person. And so it was really interesting and intriguing because I'd never really experienced that level of intensity. And so this really kind of brings me to the song because of that, you know, the dissolving of the relationship and really understanding the power of unconditional love, you know what I mean? Because of sort of my intensity, and I think, you know, taking responsibility for my part in it, was because I was so intense and so ready to like lock in and be in a relationship. I think that scared this person away, which is totally like valid, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh wow, I can see how like my desperate energy, or this neediness and this grasping energy that was happening, this whole so fall in love type of energy, would be scary to someone who definitely might have experienced trauma in their past relationships, or even in a past life or something like that, where there's a lot of unhealed things. And so it could be like super overwhelming in general, even if the person didn't have trauma, where you're meeting someone who, let's say they have a secure attachment style, or they are coming from healthy things, or they did do shadow work or whatever. That level of intensity or energy could definitely be off-putting, I could see, because it's like, well, wait, we're just like, we just met each other and all this other stuff. Let's take it slow. Do we need to jump into labels and all this stuff in the first like month of us meeting each other, right? Like that could be a little bit too intense, right? So I can see how my actions definitely brought about a distancing and a dissolving of the relationship. And one of the things that I'm sort of grasping and like integrating now is the understanding of unconditional love, right? Which is sort of, I love this sort of quote, or this idea of unconditional love is the power to say, I receive you, or I release you, with no attachment to the outcome, right? Like I am open to receiving you and or releasing you, whichever is best for both of us, right? So I think the whole idea of falling in love can have this thing of, oh, well, this is going to be your life partner, this is going to be whatever, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, is there really room for unconditional love? Because what if that person isn't the right fit for you? Or maybe they are, but it's just not the right timing. Or maybe, you know, they need time and space to do something, or you need time and space to do something. Do you have the level of capacity and love within yourself to allow that to naturally unfold and blossom? And that was something that I really had to grok and recognize, that even after the sort of dissolving of that relationship, that I didn't really have space in myself to hold space for true unconditional love, you know? And so it really brings up, you know, my song Love and Let Go, right? Which I will play at the end of this video. But it really was sort of like, I wrote that song literally probably like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. But it was very apt for what I was going through with this situation. So apparently, clearly, I've had to love and let people go before. So it was definitely a life learning, like a life, you know, lesson, really huge life lesson for me that I'm still like integrating into my life. And I think that my song Love and Let Go really sort of encapsulates some of the energy that I had to embrace, you know, for this, like this energy of the last year coming into this new year, of experiencing this sort of deep heartbreak and deep letting go of this love person, of this person in my life, you know, who I thought could be my life partner and all that good stuff, right? And it's sort of that attachment energy. Now I'm not taking responsibility for their actions or the things that they did or the things that could have been done better or stuff like that, but what I'm doing is taking accountability for my actions and my part in it and the dissolving of that relationship. And so I think, you know, this is definitely apt for understanding and grokking like what unconditional love is, what does love really look like. And because I've been in long-term relationships, I just never put like an official marriage label on it or whatever. I think that it helped me to really recognize and realize what healthy relationships can be, you know what I mean? Because I've experienced the glimpses of it in a long-term relationship, but never like, it also helped me realize the parts of my relationship that wasn't healthy that needed work, you know what I mean? And so I'm learning a lot, just being in therapy and just like experiencing my own life. And it's so funny to like experience this as someone who's very spiritually aware and spiritually awakened, to even have like this type of experience where I fell in love with someone, you know what I mean? To like fall in love. Like one person underneath one of my like posts put like, you don't want to fall in love, you want to like step into love together. And I was like, that's so true. Like I don't even like the term fall in love anymore. Like I really like the because even my song like Fall So Hard, right? Like it's so interesting, that concept of falling. Who wants to fall? Like nobody likes falling, you know what I mean? Like, oh, catch me. I like the the play on words in my song, but like hindsight 2020, I don't really want to fall in love anymore. Like I want to step in love, like in the future with whoever my like long-term partner will be. Is I want to step into love in the conscious and loving way, not this, oh, I need you, or this kind of needy energy, that was kind of going on in me. And it was just really interesting and weird. Like I never really experienced that level of like desperation until outside of my other long-term partner that I ended the relationship with a while ago. So yeah, that was very interesting, and definitely I think I'll go ahead and play the song here, Love and Let Go. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. Definitely grab a copy of it at in the link in the description box below. And if you want to support me directly, definitely would appreciate the love and support. I think it's only $1, so if you want to grab that song, definitely support me there. Or if you just want to listen to it on your favorite platforms, definitely check it out on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, all those other places where you can find it on your favorite streaming platform. Definitely check it out. Love and Let Go. So listen to the song. Hopefully you enjoy it. Before you dive into my latest song, Love and Let Go, I want to share something special with you. This song is all about the journey of healing and finding strength through love and letting go. So to support you on your own journey, I've created the Love and Let Go, a healing workbook. This workbook is really designed to guide you through the emotional process of releasing what no longer serves you while embracing love and inner strength. So when you download the song from my website, rachaelalexander.com, link in the description box below, you'll also gain access to this exclusive workbook filled with reflective exercises, powerful questions, and insights inspired by the song lyrics themselves. So it's the perfect companion to help you move forward with clarity and peace. So as you listen, know that there's a deeper healing journey waiting for you. So go ahead and grab your workbook by purchasing the song and the link in the description box below.
So many times I try to run from my past, but it kept on coming back. The pain, it just wanted to last. How can you tell the difference between your heart and your mind? The feeling just rushing, and then I just can't decide. But then I realize that I've got to move forward. To love is to know that healing is your reward. And I gotta love enough to let you go. I gotta love enough to let you go. I gotta love enough to let you go. I gotta love enough to let slow state, always got beside myself. How to forgive and forget and let confession out. Yeah. But to fully love is to love from your heart. The mind just plays a role it don't control from the start. But then I realized that I've got the strength to move forward. Through loving you, I know that now I've got to let you go. And I've got to love enough to let you go. I've got to love enough to let you go. I've got to love enough to let you go. I've got to love enough to let you go. Said I gotta love enough to let it go. I've gotta love enough to let it go. I gotta love enough to let it go. I gotta love enough to let you go. Yeah, yeah. And at this stage I'm trying to mend my heart aches and I hope we'll be friends. Reality is here and illusion has to win. And I know the truth between love and hate. And though moving on is never too late, love and let go, I'm keeping them straight. And I gotta love enough to let you go. I've gotta love enough to let you go. I've gotta love enough to let you go. I've gotta love enough to let you go. Said I gotta love enough to let you go. I've gotta love enough to let you go. I've gotta love enough to let you go. I've gotta love enough to let you go.
Okay, so you're back. So the next thing that I really wanted to talk about is the power of partnerships. Like being in that relationship that I just experienced really taught me the power of partnership, because it was the first time I've really ever experienced the energetic quality of like equal give and take or equal win-win energy. And in previous relationships, in intimate relationships with male partners, I've always experienced an imbalance in that sort of relationship where one person was giving more than the other. And I'm going to break that down, what I mean, but it always felt imbalanced. It never felt equal, or it never felt like wholesome. And this relationship that I did experience, it felt wholesome. It felt like both of us was coming to the relationship for however brief it was with 100% energy, versus this person giving 50 and I'm giving 100, or I'm giving 50 and this person is giving 100. Like it felt more equal. And I knew that this was possible because I've experienced this in like female to female like my girlfriends, like my friends that are girls, relationships, you know, where it felt like it's this beautiful synchronistic synergistic exchange of energy, you know, but I never had really experienced that in intimate relationships. And so I really kind of wanted to talk about just the power of partnerships, because I think a lot of times we have this idea of what true love is, but we never really like understand what that is. And as I'm like going through my own experiences and understanding in my life experiences, I definitely want to just kind of share what I'm learning. So like partnerships, right? Like this could be platonic, intimate, or business partnerships, right? And I think true partnerships have the qualities of equality, fairness. It's very reciprocal. It's very win-win. It's symbiotic, meaning there's a synergy there. It's a natural synergy. It's equal exchange. And it can be of different energy kinds, but it feels good to both parties. And so like, for example, person A could bring intellect, ideas, and insights, and person B could bring emotional intelligence, empathy, compassion, and understanding, right? Or both people could bring both of each, right? But it's like this equal exchange, right? So person A and person B are both bringing both of those, list of qualities, but it's an equal exchange. It's a win-win for everyone, right? Or in intimacy, a man could bring money or provide a house or stability and physical safety, while a woman provides warmth, children, love, home, care, food, mental and emotional safety or stability, and spirituality, right, or intuition. So one is more of a physical thing, whereas both are sort of physical, especially with the children and the home care and stuff like that and food. But you know, it's a different level of physical, or both could bring a different level of emotional, and both could bring a different level of spiritual or intellectual. So there's so many different ways in which we experience our physical reality, right? With the physical being like, you know, the physical work, or, you know, the actual physical materialistic things. But then there's the emotional world, right? Like as a coach, these are things that we learn, like in your emotional world, or your ideas, right? Like your intellectual world, right? So in the spiritual world, right, what level of spiritual intimacy or intuition are you tapping into? So it's like there's so many different levels of human interactions and human energy that we can bring to a relationship. And I feel like a partnership is one that brings both equality in those types of energy. And it could be, you know, where one is giving of a different that the other one lacks of, or has less of, or has less energy or experience in, right? And so they sort of balance each other out, right? For example, in business, person A could bring a vision, idea, product creation, leadership, connections, and technology, while person B brings organization, management, structure, customer care, and community management, right? And so even when you think about like organizations, or even like you know, businesses, or, you know, corporations and things like that, the reason why there's different sectors and stuff like that, even when I used to work in the business world, is because each person brings something different to the entity to make it work, right? And so if you think of this sort of, I really love listening to the lady, I can't remember her name, I'll link her video below, but where she kind of talks about, you know, this relationship, each person has their own operating manual. But I'm going to take it a step further and say the relationship starts to build its own entity, its own operation manual, right? And so while this person has this like wheel and cog over here, and this person has this kind of wheel and cog over here, like the relationship starts to form its own like operating manual, and it works synergistically because it's working together and in tandem and beautiful and operating beautiful. But most of the time what happens in a lot of I would say unhealthy relationships is that the cogs and the parts don't end up fitting together, and so like you have this sort of hodgepodge, mismatched, you know, different parts trying to make a machine work together, and it's not even meant to be together, right? And so I've learned that like in partnerships there's the equal give and take, there's a win-win, there's and not necessarily like, oh, if let's say back to the intimate idea that the husband is providing money, or let's say the woman is a breadwinner, that could very well happen as well, but where one person is providing, the other person has to provide the same thing. It's not necessarily an equal match in energy where like the person is bringing physical, that person also has to bring physical. No, it's not like necessarily that. It could be that person is bringing physical, but this person is bringing emotional and spiritual, right? But to the both of them, they both provide something that they both need because all is equal. And I think this is a very crucial understanding for me, but not, I think I've already kind of grokked this, but I've noticed that a lot of people in the world don't grok this because they, especially in our modern sort of like war on relationships energy, where a lot of times like masculine perspectives could be like, oh well, what does a woman bring, or you know, women could be, what does a man bring to me, I could do all this stuff on my own kind of energy. It's like, yeah, you could do that, but it's like there's a beauty in partnership. Not saying that everybody needs to be in partnership, right, with another human being, but for those who their soul has come here for that experience, there is a beauty in it because it does create this third entity, right? And you see this playing out in so many different spiritual traditions as well, you know, like when you think of Osiris and Asar, right? Like when you think of these, you know, the birth of baby Jesus, even still, you know, John the Baptist and Mary Magdalene, right? Like, and Jesus was the birth of that. So this is this like third entity energy that happens, and not necessarily that it needs to be a child, but the relationship itself is the third entity, and it's this beautiful machine that can work when the pieces are like aligned and, like as they say in Christianity, equally yoked, you know. And it's a beautiful third entity that can blossom. But the power of like working together on something, or understanding that when you are in a relationship, yes, there is equal exchange, but it might not be of the same energy qualities, right, or the energetic categories, right, of physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, right? Maybe this person brings more physical while this person brings more emotional. Maybe this person brings more intellectual while this person brings more physical, right? Like there can be, but as long as it feels good to both parties is what matters most. It's not about what society says, but it's about that partnership and what that machine is supposed to look like. Like when you think about yourself as your own energetic being, right, and how you're supposed to blossom and bloom in the world, you have your own inner blueprint, your own seedling of desire, your own, tree within you, right? And with each corn, like each seed, right, let's say you're an acorn to be an oak tree, or I don't know what the name of an apple tree seed would be, but like whatever it is, like you have your own inner blueprint versus someone else, some other type of tree, right? And so you're going to blossom and bloom in your own time, and you have your own inner workings and own machinery, right? When you come together in a partnership, it's the same type of energy. Like now it's like the biggest thing is finding someone who's on the same page and who has that synergistic and symbiotic type of energy and relationship, right? Where it can become this well-oiled machine, and it can become this beautiful unfolding that happens in the lifespan of the partnership, right? And so I think it's very interesting. I wanted to share those insights of what partnership is, because a lot of times we think that we know what true love is, or we want to know what is true love supposed to look like. And I think, just from glimpses of the relationship that I just experienced, but also past partnerships, I feel like true love is an equal exchange, but it's also giving space and holding space for one another to actually exist, and to actually have a curiosity and a drive to like want to be in partnership and want to understand your partner and want to be there for your partner. And I find that unhealthy relationships, there's always an unequal exchange. There's always sort of dropping the ball. It's sort of like when I think of what I learned in Kemetic yoga, or what was sort of confirmed to me in Kemetic yoga, not necessarily learned. I think I learned that before I took my certification. But my yoga teacher would always say, how you do one thing is how you do everything, and powerful people do everything with power, right? And so it was like this whole idea is like sometimes people have a tendency to be just sort of half-assed, you know what I mean, in a relationship. They think, oh, once I fall in love, that means, or we have these sort of similarities, that means I know you for the rest of your life. And it's like, no, like I'm gonna be evolving and growing, like, because I'm a seedling that's growing into my own tree, and as an entity we have to both grow together, otherwise we're going to grow apart, right? And so I think part of the misunderstanding is that relationship, even if it's true healthy love, takes work, right? Because there's always going to be this need for communication, always going to be this need for safe space for understanding, safe space for growth, safe space for curiosity, to want to know and understand your partner as they grow and as they mature and as they evolve in their life in different circumstances. And I think a lot of times we as human beings aren't taught these type of coping mechanisms, aren't taught these levels of communication, healthy communication. And so there isn't patience, there isn't curiosity, there isn't a true desire from one or the other partner with each other. Once you've gotten past that like third or fourth year mark, there becomes this level of complacency and sort of laziness with each other, because you feel like you know this person, and because of that happens and this comfortability sort of happens, there can become this level of complacency with your with a partner, right? And I think it happens even in true love, like healthy relationships where both people's like parts do match, like if one person isn't carrying their weight in terms of wanting to understand and be there and support their partner in whatever way the relationship was sort of agreed upon. But it can also change and shift as well, right? Like let's say your partner loses a job, but they were bringing the physical like stability. Like, are you flexible enough to like then work together to figure out how to re-stabilize the relationship in a physical way, you know what I mean? And so I think a lot of times, what I'm learning in therapy and what I'm learning from reading books and stuff like that and watching other therapists talk about this sort of thing is that relationships have to have flexibility. It has to have a level of deep connection and curiosity and wanting to really communicate and understand each other and be curious about each other. Like when you went on a first date, or when you went, you know, with that person, are you curious enough to really know what this person is going through, what they think, how they feel? Because that's what true love is. It's not, oh, I love this person, but I'm not going to put in the work to make that person feel understood, or make that person feel heard or seen, right? Because most of us, we all just want to be seen and heard, and loved, and feel loved, no matter what type of relationship, platonic or intimate, right? With our friends, we feel a camaraderie. We feel, you know, our friends are going to fight for us and support us. I got you, girl, you know, or I got you, man, or whatever. We love that type of energy because it feels symbiotic. It feels synergistic. You feel like you have this third entity energy, which is that relationship with that friend, right? Where this third entity of like love, care, understanding. Like when I think of my friend who I've had for over 10 years, and we have healthy relationships, my girlfriends, is because we have that level of synergy. In that sense, we don't, of course we don't have the intimacy, because that's not what the relationship is set for, but it is an intimacy. It's an emotional intimacy, but it's like you have that support because you feel seen, heard, understood. You feel like your friend can hold space for you to feel all your emotions and to, you know, experience your evolution and mindset shifts and stuff like that, right? And so that's what I really wanted to kind of share in general about like partnerships and what I'm learning, and what like that looks like. What does true love look like, and what does unconditional love looks like? And I feel like that's what it really looks like on a human level. I don't think we can ever truly have like, I feel like we can have glimpses of it because we are souls having a human experience, right? But with our humanity, is inbuilt within our humanity fallacy and like fallibility. Like because we are fallible, we are prone to sin, if you will, prone to making mistakes, prone to effing up, right? So I think, you know, we can experience glimpses of like unconditional love, right? Agape love, right? But to like live it out day to day, what true love, like agape unconditional love, is everything that I just mentioned: connection, flexibility, communication, you know, curiosity, right? Like if it was just the 3 or 4 C's, it would be what? Connection, communication, curiosity, care, right? Compassion, right? Like those things that we all want to feel in partnership with people, whether it's intimate, business, or friendship, you know, platonic or whatever, right? So those are just some insights that I wanted to share, and hopefully these lessons, life lessons that I'm learning, is helping you. Definitely let me know if you resonate with anything that I said in this video in the comments below. And I hope that this new year is treating you well. I'm feeling really well, and I'm excited about more content that I'm going to be releasing on this channel. I hope that you are shining bright and doing what you love to do, and because it definitely feels like this is the year to continue to move in the direction of your heart and move with stealth energy of just like doing what you love and letting that be your compass and your guide in your life. So hopefully this video is helpful. Definitely subscribe, give this video a thumbs up if you like it. If you vibe with this channel, definitely let me know in the comments below. If you vibe with this video, let me know, and hopefully you enjoyed the song, and I will chat with you guys when I chat with you next time. Peace, love, and light. If you enjoyed this video, then consider becoming a patron at mosaicsoulsworld.com. Thanks to my current patrons, and have a wonderful rest of your day.